美国加利福尼亚州洛杉矶的环球影城，它是世界著名的电影制片厂和主题公园的结合体，是环球影业旗下的一个景点。最具代表性的体验，可以坐车游览真实的电影拍摄片场，参观著名片场场景，比如《速度与激情》、大白鲨、金刚等。这个视频带你体验这个电影拍摄片场的真容，看看电影如何拍摄的影城片场之旅需要45到60分钟。游客乘坐多节车厢组成的有轨游览车，由工作人员带领，搭配视频解说，穿越前片场、后片场及多部电影的步行区。场地内分布着30位以上的影视拍摄棚，以及约165座相关建筑结构。1930前，影城首度开放参观。1930年代，因有声电影到来而停止导览。好莱坞环球影城外景片场曾发生过8次火灾，在2008年6月1日发生了史上最严重的火灾。当天外景区总共发生3次火灾。首先，焊接工人不小心让火花引燃周围环境。游览路程基本是车会穿过山到达前园区，再穿过这里的舞台，之后会进入后园区的建筑群。之后，车会将游客带到法院广场区和后园区的其他建筑，然后车会进入一个隧道，并穿过一些景点，金刚、3603D， 进入侏罗纪公园系列的场景，遭遇一些双脊龙鼠。接着，车会到达景点深红爆发，再后车穿过老墨西哥、德克萨斯6点、金刚2005年电影的迷你模型。随后体验大地震景点，穿过小欧洲，电影主题为大白鲨惊魂记、世界大战2005年电影中飞机失事的场景。最后一个景点是速度与激情系列的速度与激情增压。下面请随着镜头走进片场。
These are our metropolitan sets. We're passing our brownstone street right now. That is where Annie met Sandy, the 1982 movie musical Annie, starring Aileen Quinn, Carol Burnett, and Albert Finney. As we come around the corner, let's go back in time. That's right, we are entering the iconic Courthouse Square, most notably used in Back to the Future and Back to the Future 2. Here's writer Bob Gale to tell you a little more about that.
Actually, that square inspired the entire climax of Back to the Future.
I have seen something on the clock tower, all that lead. Those lead about that wide.
Now, if it looks a little different, that's because when other productions come into Courthouse Square, they don't always want it to look like it. This was also Grandview in the television show Ghost Whisperer, starring Jennifer Love Hewitt. It was also used in a scene from To Kill a Mockingbird, starring Gregory Peck, and was the location of the pilot of The Twilight Zone. As we come around the corner, we are entering our longest street in the metro sets, New York Street. Jimmy Fallon, big fan of New York Street.
Hey everyone, welcome to New York! I got my start right here in New York on Saturday Night Live. This is actually my old neighbor. Once got mugged over there by an old woman. Talk later. Who's my favorite hot dog guy? Hey buddy, how's it going? Remember me? No. Just like old times. Gotta love New York City. Hey, I'm walking here! I'm walking here! Hey, it's cool guys. I was just walking there. So it's not exactly New York, but a lot of times when you see New York in the movies, it was shot right here on the Universal Metro sets. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, even if you make it here on the Universal lot.
Now, just because we call it New York Street doesn't mean that it only plays New York. They have also filmed in our metro sets. Well, from the concrete jungle to the jungles of Skull Island, here to tell us a little bit more about our next experience is Academy Award-winning director Peter Jackson.
It's the original thing called.
Unlike the movies that we're used to working on, there's no cuts because it's one giant shot. This tram that's driving along through Skull Island is where the camera's from. This ring represents where the screen is 10 meters away.
We are now heading back through our metro sets. We're about to enter London Square. And just like New York Street doesn't only have to play New York, London Square doesn't only have to play London. This was used for India in the Mindy Project. It was also used for Russia in Agent Carter. And most recently, this patch of green grass, this little park to your left, well, that's played the back of the retirement community in San Francisco for Man on the Inside, starring Ted Danson. Pretty neat effect. They actually surround that little pocket park with green screens so that they can then go in post-production and use computer-generated imaging to add the Golden Gate Bridge and other views of San Francisco. Well, coming up on the right-hand side of the tram is a pretty impressive piece of art. This incredible mural, paying homage to our iconic Universal monsters, was created by graffiti artist Tristan Eaton to the Universal lot. He filmed his 2010 Hollywood music video here and his 2015 Christmas in Hollywood special here. Another coach who's returning to The Voice this season, Reba McEntire, and she does not have far to go from her other project. She's currently filming season 2 of her sitcom Happy's Place in stages 32 and 33. In front of that, you'll see a body of water. We call that the Hollywood Ocean. No, it doesn't look much like an ocean, but with clever framing, that's exactly what it served as in the television show McHale's Navy in the 60s. And it was the Amazon for the creature from the Black Lagoon. Well, speaking of aquatic creatures, this year... A reminder as we enter Amity Island to please remain seated and hold on to your belongings. Oh, well, it looks like they already caught the shark. It's right there. Enjoy scenic Amity Island. Oh dear, that's definitely a fin out there. At least I don't see George diving. Oh no. George looks like he has that under control. So we're just gonna pull forward. I know that one of the last things George was supposed to do was put some bait on that yellow barrel out there. So that should keep whatever's in the water occupied and away from us, or help it get closer. Oh dear. Great work, everyone. You survived Jaws. Does anyone know what kind of shark Jaws built here on the West Coast in fresh water? And then he was shipped to Martha's Vineyard on the East Coast and dropped in the Atlantic Ocean, which is not fresh water, it's salt water, where he promptly sank to the bottom and then corroded. This is why Steven Spielberg nicknamed the shark Bruce after his attorney. But fortunately, they were able to work everything out. and Jaws became the first official summer blockbuster ever. Well, Martha's Vineyard, where they filmed Jaws, averages about 3 to 5 inches of rain a month, which makes it pretty difficult to film. But here in sunny Southern California, we don't have that problem. Our weather is beautiful year-round, but that means that if we want weather for filming, then we have to create it. If we want to have rain, for example, which can make a romantic scene more romantic, a spooky scene even spookier, a serious scene even more dramatic, well, we're going to have to create that rain because we just don't have it here. If you've ever watched a live broadcast of a sporting event that has a rain delay or has rain, you might remember that you can't really see the raindrops. It's kind of blurry. So if we want to give rain its starring moment, we have to help it out a little bit. Currently, we're using sprinklers. We're shooting that water up in the air so that the drops fall more slowly and are larger. If we backlight that, it's more visible on film. Then we can add in some sound effects, like thunder. Maybe use some strobe lighting for lighting. I'm glad Davey has our windshield wipers on in the rain. The only problem is if you leave those sprinklers on for too long, you might.
Oh my God. Oh my
And
God.
that was our flash flood. That is the oldest attraction on the studio tour. It's been with us since about 4 years after the studio tour opened. That is 10,000 gallons of recycled water that'll head right back up the hill so that it can create movie magic for the next tram that comes through. That water has starred alongside Lady Gaga in her Judas video, as well as Frankie Munoz, Paul Giamatti, and Amanda Bynes in Big Fat Liar.
You can't outrun the wolf, kid! Yeah, we'll see about that. Hang on, buddy,
Well, we are now entering our western sets, also known as 6 Points. 6 Points is called 6 Points because back when we were filming silent movies, there were 6 streets that met in a central hub, kind of like the spokes on a wagon wheel. And each street was its own town, had its own saloon, its own bank, its own schoolhouse, its own church. We could theoretically film 6 silent westerns at the same time since noise didn't matter. At the end of the street now, we can add a green screen if we want to block those sound stages in the background. This was used recently in Sony Pictures' Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, directed by Quentin Tarantino. It was also featured in Disney's Saving Mr. Banks. I have to go off the mic. A reminder to please remain seated and hold on while we're inside the soundstage. If you drop anything in here, hold on. Oh, please remain seated and hold on. see some examples of that right here. We have the Psycho House. This is one of Hollywood's oldest existing sets. When it was first built, it was just a facade, meaning just a front wall and a side wall. But over the years, as sequels were made, it became a full house. There's nothing in it. Oh, I take that back. Norman's here. Hey, Norman. That's it. We're getting you out of here. Davey, take us somewhere safe, please. I'd like to go somewhere safer than where we just were. Oh, no. Oh, gosh. Davey tried, but he has driven us onto the set of 2005's War of the Worlds from Paramount, directed by Steven Spielberg.
The airplane crash set is a perfect example of a set that is all designed around the vision that Steven had.
To sit down to talk about War of the World, I thought, what if the 747 goes down right in a big neighborhood? Because it's just something you don't see.
I want to let you know that at this time we're approximately 10 to 15 minutes from the end of the tour, and we'll be returning to the...
This is Jupiter's Planet, a nostalgic, small-time Southern California amusement park owned by former child star Ricky Jr. Over there, look into the winking well. Have your picture taken just like the kids in that old 90s movie Kid Show. That's what this whole place is loosely based on. Remember that one? No? Well, I don't. A little further down, you can see the brand new Star Lasso experience. Built to showcase an unbelievable new live show. It's not looking so live. Anyway, behind this Hollywood fantasy, gold rush frontier town, lies a sinister secret. It is smack dab in the center of the UFO. Welcome to the world of no.
Yikes. Looks like we lost power there for a moment. Must have been Jean Jacket. If you are familiar with Nope, you might know that Jordan Peele worked closely with sound designer Johnny Burke.